sir.
We should now be recording. I am sorry that I will not be here today. I had to go to the doctor, but I wanted to make sure we went over some of these terms that I asked you to go over, and I'll just debrief them. The current and the financial account equals zero. So if the current account's in a surplus and the financial account then has to be in a deficit. And of course it works the other way. If the financial account's in a surplus, the current account has to be in a deficit. And it's kind of a circular flow. The money just goes from foreign countries to the United States, and then, so if the United States sells exports, they get money from foreign countries, they use that excess money and invest that money in foreign countries. So think of it as a circular flow. Now, what makes up the current account? The current account is made up of three things. The first thing is net export. Exports minus imports. So if you're exporting more, you have a surplus. If you're importing more, you have a deficit. The second thing is net investment. That is money made on your investments. So if I have $1 million bond and I get $1,000 interest, the $1,000 interest is net investment. That's interest I'm making off foreign investments minus interest foreigners are making off American investments. And the third is net transfers. And that is like foreign aid that the United States gives to other countries. And also, if I'm making money and I send my dad in Chile a check, that would be net transfers. Those are all current account. The financial account is actually paying for the investment. So paying for the $1 million bond, paying for a McDonald's in Japan, that would be the financial account. Impact of appreciation on exports. When the dollar appreciates, it makes U.S. goods more expensive, so people are not purchasing U.S. goods, so exports go down. I'll do this on the next slide. Domestic investment versus foreign investment, and this has confused some people, rightfully so. The domestic investment, that's when companies are buying things to make inputs. So they might be buying machines to make jackets and sweaters, or they might be building factories. Therefore, when they're going to build these things and buy machines, they're looking for the lowest interest rates because they're borrowing money. Foreign investment is more when you're looking to invest your money by loaning countries. So you might be purchasing a bond. You could just stop. You might be purchasing a bond, okay? So therefore you're looking for the highest interest rates. Just quickly to go over comparative advantage again. This is an output, and you could tell because they're asking, the key is the number of CDs. Okay? So for output, it's OO, output other over. So the other, if I'm looking for the comparative advantage for CDs, the other is beef. I take 2 over 4, that's a half. Then I go to Canada, 6 over 4, that's 1.5. I always pick the lowest number. Japan has the comparative advantage in CDs. I know then Canada has the comparative advantage in beef. Now, what is comparative advantage? It says who has the lowest opportunity cost. And that's what makes international trade good for both countries. It allows you to allocate your resources efficiently and to specialize. Now, output is 90% of the time. But every once in a while, they'll throw you an input just to make sure that you're reading the problems correctly. Now notice the difference. This is the number of hours. So kind of the buzzwords I look for is number of hours, number of acres, anything number of time is usually an input. Now an input is IOU, input other under. So, for an example, I'm looking for, again, the comparative advantage of bread. The other is corn, I put it under 4 over 2. For France, it's 4 over 6, 2/3 smaller than 2. France has the comparative advantage in bread, US has in corn, okay? So those are the two comparative advantage ones. Now, absolute advantage is something they sometimes ask, and here, for the output, you're just looking for the greatest number. Canada and Japan, they're tied in CDs. Canada is 6 over 2. They can make more beef. They have the absolute advantage. Again, absolute advantage has nothing to do with trade, that's only comparative advantage for the trade. And here, though, in the input, you're looking for a smaller number. Who can make who can make 1 bushel of corn in the least amount of hours? So the United States, 2 hours, France, 6. Okay? Remember to put the A or the B test on your scan, and good luck.